Chapter 15. The Fur-Lined Toilet Seat. The outhouse was an important feature in American history for hundreds of years. It was a humble place, with its share of earthy odors, but it was also a place for refuge and reflection, a place where you could receive revelation and new insights. It turned out to be just that for Miss Dorothy, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. An outhouse can be a pleasant place to pass the time on a warm afternoon in late spring, but on a bitter cold winter evening, well, let's just say it's a different story. It's not quite so bad if you don't have to sit down, which the boys did only occasionally. But for little Eddie's mother, the winter trips to the outhouse were another matter. And being the daughter of an inventor, she wasn't going to take the matter sitting down. On one of her trips to town, she stopped at a rummage sale. While there, she saw an old coat with a huge raccoon collar. Her mental wheels started spinning and her eyes lit up. She gave the clerk 10 cents for the coat, rushed home, removed the collar, cut out a horseshoe-shaped piece of cardboard, and glued the fur to it. Voila! A fur-lined toilet seat. She marched out to the outhouse with a hammer and nail, and before long, that outhouse was accessorized with the most glamorous seat in the county, maybe the state, hanging there on its nail. Little Eddie and his brothers admired their mother's ingenuity and quickly recognized that sometimes they had to sit down too. They asked their mother if she would share her fur-lined toilet seat. "Not on your life," she said. "I know you boys and what you'll do. You'll forget to hang it back on its nail, and the next one will come along and pee all over it. Go find your own fur-lined toilet seat." Well, those fur-lined toilet seats didn't just grow on trees. And after a couple of weeks of cold backsides and constant complaining, the boy's mother finally caved in. Just remember, always, always hang it back on its nail. Miss Dorothy moved with her husband and 2 children from New Jersey to the next town down the river. She was a large woman of Italian descent. The boys admired the faint mustache that grew on her upper lip and the expressive way she talked. She loved talking, with her hands or any other way, but found that the local women were standoffish. Little Eddie's mother, on the other hand, had never met a stranger. So Miss Dorothy would drive up from Blooming Rose once or twice a week to sit in the kitchen, drink a cup of coffee, and chat with Eddie's mother. She never stayed for too long, and the boys wondered if it had anything to do with her fear of the outhouse. After all, outhouses could be dangerous places, what with black widow spider bites and methane gas explosions. But one afternoon, the conversation must have been just too interesting, and 1 hour stretched into 2. 1 cup of coffee stretched into another, and at last, Miss Dorothy had to answer nature's call. She was certain she'd never make it home without an accident. Mustering all her courage, she asked, "Okay, where is your bathroom?" "Oh, we don't have a bathroom," the boys replied innocently. "We have an outhouse." "I know that," snapped Miss Dorothy impatiently. The urgency was building. "Where is your outhouse?" The boys spilled onto the rickety back porch, reached up to pull the string on the naked bulb that swung from overhead, and peered out through the gathering dusk. "You see that little building over there in the corner of the yard?" they asked. "Barely," answered Miss Dorothy. "Well, that's it." Little Eddie and the boys left her to it and went back in the kitchen. Moments later, they were shocked to hear an ear-piercing scream. It was right up there in decibels alongside a Navy fighter jet, and it had an eerie, supernatural quality to it. The boys nearly broke down the door in their rush to the back porch. In the gloom, they could just make out the bulky shape of Miss Dorothy. She was defying gravity in jumps nearly 6 feet off the ground, which was amazing because her underwear was still wrapped around her ankles. "Ah!" she shrieked. "Ah! Attacked! Something attacked me in there!" When at long last, little Eddie picked himself up off the ground and managed to control his laughter, he turned to his brothers and asked the question, "Okay, who forgot to hang up the fur-lined toilet seat?"